The big room was full of strange sounds. Alien voices mixed with machine translations, creating a buzz that never stopped. Ambassador Yoon sat in her small chair at the back corner. Her simple blue dress looked plain next to the bright robes and shiny armor worn by other beings. The Galactic Council met every month in this huge chamber. 47 different species came here to talk about galaxy business. Today they would vote on humanity's request again. For 3 years, humans had asked to join the Galactic Defense Initiative. For 3 years, they had been told no. Yoon looked at her notes one more time. She had prepared everything carefully. Charts showing human military success. Data about new human technology. Plans for helping other species with their problems. She hoped today would be different. Order. Order. The council leader's voice came through speakers around the room. The ancient being looked like living crystal, glowing with cold light. Today we discuss the human request for defense partnership. A loud hiss came from the Vorthak section. The snake-like alien stood up, its breathing mask making wet sounds. "Why do we waste time with this?" it said. The translation made its voice sound even more angry. "Humans are children. They have nothing to give us." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some beings nodded. Others made sounds that meant agreement in their languages. Yoon felt her stomach tighten, but she kept her face calm. Kang, the human military officer, sat next to her. His uniform was neat and clean, but simple. He watched the aliens with careful eyes. His hand rested on a data pad full of military reports. Reports that showed how humans had stopped 3 pirate attacks in the Outer Rim. Reports that no one here wanted to read. "The humans are too young," said the crystal being. Its light pulsed with each word. "Too wild, too dangerous. We have kept peace for 2,000 years without human help." A blue-skinned alien from the Trade Council stood up. "Their ships are slow. Their weapons are old. What could they possibly do for us?" Yoon felt anger rise in her chest, but she pushed it down. Getting mad would not help. She had learned this in her years as a diplomat. She stood up slowly, waiting for permission to speak. "The human delegate may speak," the council leader said. Its tone suggested this was a waste of time. "Thank you," Yoon said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "We understand your concerns. However, we believe our different way of thinking could help the galaxy. We have stopped many attacks in the outer systems. We have shared our medical knowledge freely. We ask only for the chance to help more." "Help?" A tall, thin alien laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. "You cannot even travel faster than light without our help. Your species discovered space travel only 200 years ago. We have been among the stars for millions of years." In the observer section, engineer Hana shifted in her seat. Her datapad held designs for new jump drives that could cross the galaxy in days instead of months. Drives that used completely new science. But no one here cared about human science. Admiral Day sat next to her, his old face showing no emotion. He had fought in more battles than most of these aliens had seen. He had commanded fleets that protected trade routes while council ships stayed safe in their home systems. His jaw moved slightly, the only sign of his anger. "Your kind starts fights everywhere you go," said another alien. This one looked like a giant bug with too many arms. "You fought wars on your own planet for thousands of years. How can we trust you with galaxy peace?" "We learned from those wars," Yoon replied. "We know the cost of fighting. We know the value of peace. That is why we want to help protect it." "Enough talk," the crystal being said. Its light flashed brighter. "We will vote now. All in favor of accepting humanity into the Galactic Defense Initiative?" The chamber fell silent. Yoon waited, hoping to see at least one hand or tentacle or claw rise in support. Nothing moved. The silence stretched on. "All opposed?" The response was immediate. Hands, claws, tentacles, and other limbs shot up all around the chamber. The count was fast and brutal. 47 votes against, 0 votes for. Humanity could not vote on their own request, so they had to watch in silence. "The motion fails," the council leader announced. Humanity will not be admitted to the defense initiative. This matter is closed. As the other delegates began to file out, a small alien bumped into Yoon deliberately. When will your people learn your place? It hissed. You are nothing here. You will always be nothing. Yoon stopped walking. She turned to face the alien, with a small smile. Perhaps we will learn sooner than you think, she said softly. Kang gathered his unused reports. Hana closed her datapad full of ignored inventions. Admiral Day stood slowly, his old bones creaking. The three humans walked out together, their footsteps echoing in the emptying chamber. Ma'am, Kang said quietly as they reached the exit. What are your orders? Yoon looked back at the crystal being, still glowing on its high platform. Send a message to Earth, she said. Tell them the vote failed. Tell them we are coming home. And then? Hana asked. Yoon's smile grew a little wider. Then we show them what humans can really do when we stop asking for permission. The three humans left the council chambers. Behind them, aliens talked and laughed about other business. None of them noticed the small recording device that Day left behind. None of them realized that this would be the last time they would dismiss humanity so easily. In the distance, human ships began receiving coded messages. All across the galaxy, humans working in alien cities, alien stations, and alien colonies started packing their things. The exodus had not started yet, but the first orders were already moving through space. The council had made their choice. Now, humanity would make theirs. 3 months passed after the council vote. The first changes were small, so small that most aliens did not notice them. The human embassy on Galactic Central began closing its windows. Workers put boards over the glass and locked the doors. A new sign went up, closed for repairs. But no repair crews came. Ambassador Jin walked through the empty halls one last time. She was younger than Yoon, but her eyes held the same quiet strength. Her footsteps echoed in rooms that had once been full of hope. Now they were just empty spaces waiting for someone to turn off the lights. She placed a single document on the main desk. The letter was short and polite. The Terran Federation thanks the Galactic Council for its hospitality. We will be pursuing other arrangements. We wish you well. No anger, no threats, no demands for apologies. Just goodbye. At Nexus Prime, the biggest trading station in neutral space, Captain Sue read her orders on a secure channel. The message was simple. Operation Silent Dawn begins now. All Terran ships must leave Council space in 72 hours. Sue looked around the busy docking bay. Human traders were selling food that stayed fresh for months without cooling. Human mechanics were fixing alien engines with tools that worked better than anything else in the galaxy. Human pilots were carrying cargo to places other species considered too dangerous. Pack it up, she told her crew. We're going home. What about our contracts? Asked her first officer. Cancelled, Sue said. All of them. Her crew moved fast. They had trained for this, though they had hoped it would never happen. Within hours, human goods disappeared from the markets. Human ships powered up their engines. Human workers finished their shifts and did not come back. The aliens began to notice, but slowly. A Calarian merchant arrived at the human food stall to find it empty. A Zephyrian ship captain looked for his usual human navigator and found only a note saying contract terminated. Dr. Bo packed his research in boxes at the Galactic Medical Institute. His alien supervisor watched with confusion, tentacles waving in distress. But the new disease treatment, the supervisor said. We were so close to finishing it. You will have to finish it without me, Bo replied. He sealed another box of notes and data files. Where are you going? Bo smiled the same quiet smile that all human diplomats seem to share. Home. But this is important work. Lives depend on it. Yes, Bo agreed. They do. He left that day. The research stopped. The new treatment that could have saved thousands of lives stayed locked in human computers that no one else could access. Across the galaxy, the pattern repeated. Human doctors left their hospitals. Human engineers abandoned their projects. Human teachers finished their classes and walked away. Human merchants closed their shops. Human security guards turned in their badges. They did not quit with anger. They did not break their contracts. They simply waited for their agreements to end. Then they left. Quietly. Professionally. Completely. Admiral May stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the last human civilian transport leave council space. The vessel was packed with families who had made alien worlds their homes for generations. Children who had been born under foreign stars. Elderly humans who had spent their whole lives working for alien companies. All of them were leaving. All ships accounted for, her communications officer reported. The evacuation is complete. May nodded. Send the final message to Admiral Day. Tell him the board is clear. Far across the galaxy in a system that no alien had ever visited, Admiral Day received the message. He stood in the command center of a massive space station that had been hidden for years. Around him, human workers prepared machines that no alien had ever seen. Beginning final preparations, he announced to his staff. Project Silent Dawn enters its last phase. Through the windows he could see ships being built. Not the simple vessels that aliens knew about, but something else entirely. Ships that used new kinds of engines. Ships that carried weapons based on science that humans had kept secret. Ships that could do things that would change how everyone thought about space travel. Dr. Min worked at her computer station, putting the finishing touches on medical technology that made alien treatments look like ancient magic. Engineer Han checked the new jump drives one more time, drives that could cross the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. How long until we're ready? Day asked. 6 months for full deployment, Han replied. But we could begin limited operations in 3. Day looked at the star charts showing council space. Somewhere out there, aliens were probably starting to notice that humans were gone. Soon they would realize what that meant. 3 months, he decided. We'll give them 3 months to understand their mistake. Back in council space, the problems were getting worse. Trade routes that had run smoothly for decades now had delays. Ships got lost in dangerous areas because their human navigators were gone. Pirates attacked convoys that had been safe for years because human patrol ships no longer watched the trade lanes. The council leader tried to call Earth, but the communication channels were silent. Not blocked, not busy, just silent. Like no one was listening anymore. Where did they go? It asked its assistants. We don't know, they replied. All human colonies have gone dark. Their ships have disappeared. It's like they vanished. But humans had not vanished. They had just stopped playing by alien rules. In hidden systems throughout the galaxy, human colonies that aliens had never known about worked day and night. Factories built new ships. Schools taught new science. Laboratories developed new weapons. Humanity had been polite guests in the galactic community. They had followed alien laws, used alien technology, and asked alien permission for everything. Now they were done asking. Captain, Sue's ship was the last to leave council space. As she crossed the border, she sent one final message to the council leader. Thank you for teaching us that we don't need your permission to be great. Then the human ships jumped to hyperspace and were gone, leaving behind empty stations, canceled, contracts, and the first hints of what the galaxy would become without them. 6 months after the humans left, Trade Director Vexthal stared at reports that made no sense. The insectoid being clicked its mandibles in frustration as numbers scrolled across multiple screens. This cannot be right, it muttered. Shipping delays are up 40%. Route efficiency is down by more than a third. How is this possible? The answer was in the details that most aliens had never bothered to notice. Human navigators had been extraordinarily good at finding the fastest paths through dangerous space. They could plot courses through asteroid fields, around gravity wells, and past unstable stars better than any computer. When they left, ships had to use longer, safer routes that took much more time. A Calarian merchant captain waited 3 extra days at each jump point because he could not find the shortcut his human navigator used to take. A Zephyrian cargo hauler got lost in a nebula because the human charts were more accurate than anything in the alien databases. Contact the human colonies, Vexthal ordered. We need their navigation data. Sir, his assistant replied nervously. We cannot reach any human settlements. All their communication channels are blocked. Actually, they were not blocked. They were just programmed to ignore alien signals, but the aliens did not know that. Dr. Scythara worked frantically in the medical bay of Healer's Rest Station. Her patient was dying from Rigelian fever, and nothing she tried was working. The disease had appeared suddenly, spreading through 3 systems before anyone realized how dangerous it was. Use the human protocol, she ordered her assistants. The treatment Dr. Bow developed. We don't have it, they replied. He took all his research when he left. The computers are locked with human security codes. Scythara's healing tentacles turned pale with shock. What do you mean, locked? Dr. Bow's files require human authorization to access. We've tried everything. 17 people died that week. The number would have been much higher, but some human doctors had shared basic treatments before they left. Only the advanced cures remained sealed away in computers that no alien could unlock. The medical crisis was just the beginning. General Korth received reports that made his warrior blood run cold. 3 major trade convoys had been attacked by pirates in the past month. Ships that had traveled the same route safely for years were being robbed and destroyed. How did the pirates know where to strike? He demanded. Sir, his intelligence officer said quietly, our early warning system has failed. The human scout ships are gone. For decades, human volunteers had flown small, fast ships to the dangerous edges of civilized space. Their advanced sensors could detect pirate fleets days before they attacked. They sent warnings that saved thousands of lives and millions of credits worth of cargo. Without them, the galaxy was blind. Send our own scouts, Korth ordered. We tried, sir. Our ships cannot match human sensor range, and their stealth technology was far superior to ours. Korth looked at the star charts showing recent attacks. The pirates were getting bolder, striking deeper into Council space. They seemed to know exactly where Council patrol ships were not looking. How many ships did we lose this month? 47, sir, with 830 casualties. The numbers kept getting worse. Counselor Aelthus called an emergency session. The energy being's form flickered with agitation as reports poured in from across the galaxy. Medical emergencies in 12 systems, one aide reported. Trade disruption affecting 36 major routes. Pirate attacks increasing by 20% each week. This is unacceptable, Aelthus pulsed. Send a diplomatic mission to Earth immediately. The mission launched 3 days later. The best diplomats from 5 species traveled to the Sol system with offers of trade agreements and partnership deals. They carried gifts and promises of respect. They never arrived. What do you mean they never arrived? Aelthus demanded. The hyperspace route to human space has been altered, the navigation officer explained. The jump coordinates that worked for decades now lead to empty space. Impossible. Hyperspace routes are fixed by gravity and physics. They cannot be changed. Nevertheless, sir, every path to human territory now terminates in dangerous areas. Dead systems, unstable stars, radiation fields that would kill any crew. Engineer Thalek had been studying this problem for weeks. The tentacled being's chromatophores shifted to deep purple as it presented its findings to the Council. The hyperspace alterations appear to be artificial, Thalek said. Someone has created barriers that redirect our ships away from human space. How is that possible? Another Council member asked. We don't know. The technology required would be far beyond anything in our databases. But that was not the most disturbing discovery. We have detected massive energy signatures in the galactic rim, Thalek continued. The power outputs suggest construction projects on a planetary scale. Construction of what? Thalek's color shifted to an even deeper purple. Unknown. But the energy readings are consistent with industrial operations larger than anything any Council species has ever attempted. Meanwhile, the problems kept getting worse. Food shipments spoiled because human preservation technology was no longer available. Space stations broke down because human maintenance procedures were lost. Communications suffered because human relay stations had gone silent. The Calarian ambassador approached the Council leader privately. Perhaps we should reconsider the human request, it suggested. Never, the crystal being replied. They are trying to manipulate us. This is exactly why we cannot trust them. But the costs will be temporary. Other species will develop replacements for human services, but no other species seemed able to match what humans had provided. Their technology was different, based on scientific principles that aliens had dismissed as impossible or impractical. Dr. Sithara tried to recreate Dr. Bo's fever treatment from memory. After months of work, she produced a medicine that was only half as effective and took 10 times longer to manufacture. Navigation computers tried to calculate the routes that human pilots had flown by instinct. The results were courses that took twice as long and passed through areas that were 3 times more dangerous. Security forces attempted to patrol the areas that human scouts had watched. They found pirates where humans had found empty space, and empty space where humans had found pirates. It's like they had a completely different understanding of how space works, General Korth admitted to his staff. He was more right than he knew. In the hidden systems where humans now lived, Admiral Day watched the final tests of humanity's new technology, ships that could travel faster than light in ways that alien science said were impossible, weapons that used forces that alien physics claimed did not exist, sensors that could see across dimensions that aliens had never discovered. The preparations are complete, he reported to Admiral May. We can begin the demonstration phase. May looked at the reports from Council Space. 30 systems affected by medical crises, hundreds of ships lost to pirates, trade networks failing across half the galaxy. They've had 6 months to reconsider, she said. Time to show them what they gave up. The first human ships began moving toward Council Space, carrying technology that would change everything the aliens thought they knew about the universe. The Council had made their choice 18 months ago. Now they would learn what that choice really meant. The structures appeared overnight without warning. Admiral Rowe stood on the observation deck of the human command ship Busan Rising, watching alien vessels gather around one of the massive installations. The structure was beautiful in its geometric perfection, like a crystal mountain floating in space. Energy flowed across its surface in patterns that made no sense to alien scientists. Admiral, Captain Nam reported, Council ships are attempting to communicate with us. Let them wait, Rowe replied calmly. Status report on all installations? 27 structures online across the galaxy, sir. The hyperspace regulation network is fully operational. Rowe nodded. Each structure controlled hyperspace travel in its region. Ships could still jump to light speed, but only if the network allowed it. Humanity now controlled who could travel where in the galaxy. The ship itself amazed the aliens who saw it. The Busan Rising seemed to bend light around its hull, creating visual effects that should have been impossible. Its design followed principles that alien engineers had never seen. Weapons ports opened and closed like living tissue. The ship moved through space as if physics worked differently for humans than for everyone else. In the council chambers, panic ruled the emergency session. What are those things? Demanded the Vorthak representative, its breathing apparatus wheezing with stress. Engineer Thalek displayed sensor readings that made no sense. The structures appeared to control hyperspace itself, sir. Ships cannot jump to light speed without their permission. Impossible, snorted another council member. No species has that level of technology. Nevertheless, sir, 17 ships have been unable to complete jumps in the past 6 hours. All were attempting to travel through regulated zones. General Korth leaned forward, his warrior instincts screaming danger. Are they blocking all travel? No, sir. Peaceful vessels with proper authorization are allowed through normally. But ships carrying weapons or moving toward restricted areas are redirected. The council leader's crystal form pulsed with agitation. Summon the humans, immediately. We demand an explanation. Sir, an aide replied nervously. They're not responding to our calls. Then send ships to their installations. Board them if necessary. Sir, that might not be wise. A 3-dimensional image appeared in the center of the chamber. Ambassador Hyo materialized, her hologram crystal clear despite broadcasting from thousands of light years away. She wore the same simple clothing style that all human diplomats favored, but something in her eyes suggested she was not the same kind of visitor who had come before. "Honored council members," Hyo began, her voice carrying easily over the noise. "The Terran Federation greets you." "What have you done?" Councillor Elthis demanded, its energy form flickering wildly. "Those structures, remove them immediately." Hyo smiled. It was a small, polite expression that somehow managed to be more frightening than any threat. The Hyperspace Regulation Network is a gift to the galaxy. It ensures safe, efficient travel for all peaceful species while preventing hostile forces from using hyperspace for aggressive purposes. "A gift?" the Vorthak representative hissed. "You built them without permission." "We required no permission," Hyo replied. "These installations occupy unclaimed space and were constructed using our own resources and technology. They violate no treaties or galactic laws." "You cannot control galactic travel," General Korth shouted, rising from his seat. "This is an act of war." "War?" Hyo's expression remained perfectly calm. "Against whom? We have attacked no one. We have threatened no one. We have simply built some useful structures in empty space. And if we choose to destroy them?" Korth challenged. Hyo's smile grew slightly wider. "You are welcome to try. However, please note that any aggressive action against Terran installations will result in immediate hyperspace restrictions for the attacking species. We would hate to see anyone stranded far from home." The threat was delivered so politely that it took several seconds for the full meaning to sink in. Humanity could cut off any species from faster-than-light travel entirely. They could trap entire fleets in distant systems, isolate planets from their colonies, and end interstellar civilization for anyone who opposed them. "This is blackmail," the council leader accused. "This is consequences," Hyo corrected. 18 months ago you told us that humanity had nothing to offer the galaxy. You said we were too young, too aggressive, too chaotic to be trusted with responsibility. We accepted your judgment." She paused, letting her words echo in the silent chamber. "We used that time productively. We thought about your concerns, we developed solutions. We grew up, as you suggested we should." "What do you want?" whispered the ethereal council leader, its light dimming to barely visible levels. "The same thing we wanted 18 months ago," Hyo replied. "Partnership, respect, a voice in galactic affairs that reflects our actual contributions rather than your assumptions about our capabilities." Admiral Rowe watched the council fleet through his ship's advanced sensors. 12 different species had sent their most powerful warships to investigate the human structures. None of them had weapons that could damage the installations. The aliens did not know this yet, but their most advanced shields could not stop human weapons while their most powerful guns could not penetrate human defenses. "Sir," Captain Nam reported, "the Calarian fleet is powering weapons. Are they targeting us or the installation?" "The installation, sir." Rowe sighed. "Send a warning. Standard protocols." A polite message reached the Calarian commander. "Attention. Calarian vessels. You are approaching a restricted zone. Please alter course to avoid interruption of your hyperspace capabilities." The Calarian admiral ignored the warning. 3 battlecruisers opened fire on the human structure, their most powerful weapons striking the geometric installation with enough force to destroy a small moon. The structure absorbed the energy without visible effect. The attack simply disappeared into its crystalline surface like stones thrown into deep water. Then the Calarian ship stopped. Not destroyed, not damaged, just stopped. Their engines still ran, their life support still functioned, but their hyperspace drives went silent. "Attention Calarian vessels," came another polite message. "Your jump drives have been temporarily disabled due to aggressive action against Terran installations. Normal function will resume when you withdraw to a safe distance." The Calarian admiral tried to jump to hyperspace. Nothing happened. His ships were trapped in normal space, unable to travel faster than light. They could fly home, but it would take them 40 years to reach Calarian space. 30 minutes later, the Calarian fleet withdrew. Their jump drives reactivated immediately. The lesson was clear to everyone watching. In the council chambers, the debate had become desperate. "How do we negotiate with terrorists?" one member demanded. "They're not terrorists," another replied. "They haven't hurt anyone. They're just controlling access to the entire galaxy." Ambassador Hio listened to the arguments with patient calm. Finally, she spoke again. "We understand this is a significant change," she said. "But consider the benefits. Pirate attacks have dropped to zero in regulated zones. Trade routes are safer than they have been in decades. Medical supplies reach emergency zones in hours instead of days." It was true. The first reports were already coming in. The same technology that controlled hyperspace access also optimized travel for approved vessels. Ships arrived at their destinations faster and more efficiently than ever before. "We offer partnership," Hio continued. "Joint administration of the network, shared benefits, mutual respect." "And if we refuse?" Aelthus asked. "Then you continue as you are. The network remains under Terran control, but we will still allow peaceful travel and trade. We have no desire to harm anyone." The council leader flickered brighter. "You expect us to accept your dominance?" "We expect you to accept reality," Hio replied. "You can work with us as equals, or you can work around us as subordinates. The choice is yours." Her image flickered and disappeared, leaving the council in silence. Outside, the human structures continued their quiet work, managing galactic travel, with efficiency that amazed even the aliens who hated their existence. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Humanity had never needed permission to be great. They had only needed motivation to stop hiding their capabilities. The council had provided plenty of motivation. The signing ceremony took place aboard the human vessel Guangzhou's Dawn, a ship so advanced that its mere presence redefined what the council thought possible about technology. President Kyung of the Terran Federation sat across from 47 alien leaders, her expression calm as she reviewed the treaty documents. The negotiations had taken 3 months. 3 months during which humanity had carefully demonstrated just how much the galaxy had changed. Dr. Min had returned to the Galactic Medical Institute with treatments that seemed like miracles. The Rigelian fever outbreak was cured within days. Diseases that had plagued species for centuries simply disappeared when exposed to human medicine. The healing technologies used principles that alien scientists were still trying to understand. "The Hyperspace Regulation Network will remain under Joint Terran Council Administration," President Kyung read aloud. "Terran representatives will hold permanent seats on the Defense Council, Trade Commission, and Scientific Advisory Board." Councillor Aelthus nodded reluctantly. The energy being had fought this agreement for weeks, but the alternative was worse. "And in return?" "Full access to the network for all council species," Kyung replied. "Enhanced security protocols that have already eliminated piracy in regulated zones. Continued human participation in galactic commerce, medicine, and defense." The benefits were impossible to deny. In just 3 months, the galaxy had become safer, more efficient, and more prosperous than it had been in centuries. Human technology did not just work better than alien alternatives. It worked in ways that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Admiral Day commanded the new Joint Defense Fleet from his flagship. Human vessels worked alongside alien ships in perfect coordination. The combined fleet could respond to threats anywhere in the galaxy within minutes rather than days, thanks to the hyperspace network. Pirates had learned quickly that attacking anything in human-regulated space was suicide. The few who tried found themselves facing response times that were impossibly fast. Human ships appeared out of nowhere, using weapons that disabled rather than destroyed, and transported captured pirates to justice before their victims had finished, sending distress calls. Engineer Hana supervised the construction of new trade installations throughout the galaxy. Her designs increased cargo capacity by 300%, while reducing travel time by half. Goods that had taken months to ship now arrived in days. The economic boom was felt on every civilized world. The Vorthak representative approached Ambassador Jin after the signing ceremony. Its breathing apparatus cycled nervously as it struggled to form words. "How?" it finally asked. "How did your species advance so quickly?" Jin smiled with that same mysterious expression that all human diplomats seem to share. "We had 18 months to think while you ignored us. 18 months of very productive thinking. But the resources, the manufacturing capability, the scientific breakthroughs. We're a focused species when properly motivated," Jin replied. "And you motivated us quite effectively." The alien's breathing became more labored. "The technology you've demonstrated, it should be impossible. Our science says these things cannot work. Your science has limitations," Jin said gently. "We discovered new principles, new ways of understanding reality. When you have time to think without interruption, amazing things become possible." What the aliens did not know was that humanity had been holding back for decades. The same species that had been dismissed as too young had secretly developed science that was centuries ahead of galactic standards. They had hidden their capabilities, sharing only enough to be useful while keeping their greatest achievements secret. The Council had given them the perfect excuse to stop hiding. As the ceremony concluded, President Kyung stood at the observation deck with Admiral May. Both women watched the stars through windows that showed impossible clarity, as if the ship existed slightly outside normal space. "Any regrets?" May asked. Kyung shook her head. "They needed to understand that partnership is not charity. It's recognition of mutual value. And if they had simply accepted our original offer 18 months ago, then they would have had true partners instead of reluctant subordinates. The difference was subtle but important. 18 months ago, humanity had offered to work with the Council as equals. Now the aliens worked for humanity as junior partners. The humans were kind rulers, but rulers nonetheless. Trade flowed through human-controlled networks. Medical treatments depended on human research. Military protection required human technology. The galaxy functioned, but it functioned according to human design. The Terran Federation's ships departed the signing ceremony, their hyperspace jumps carrying them instantly to destinations across the galaxy. Behind them, Council vessels followed more slowly, still using technology that seemed primitive by comparison. Engineer Thalek submitted a report to the Council that would never be made public. After months of study, he had reached disturbing conclusions about human technology. "Their ships do not follow conventional physics," he wrote. "They appear to access dimensions we cannot detect. Their weapons use forces we cannot measure. Their sensors perceive things we cannot see. Most concerning of all, their capabilities suggest they have been holding back their true abilities for decades. What we see now may only be a small demonstration of what they can actually do." The report disappeared into classified files that few would ever read. In hidden research stations throughout human space, scientists worked on projects that would have terrified the aliens if they had known about them. Weapons that could destroy stars, shields that could protect entire planets, engines that could travel between galaxies. Humanity had revealed enough to establish control. They had not revealed everything. General Korth submitted his resignation the day after the signing ceremony. In his final report, he wrote simply, "We are no longer the dominant military force in the galaxy. Attempting to resist human control would result in our complete destruction." Dr. Cythera published a medical journal article praising human healing techniques, but her private notes told a different story. Human medicine appears to work on biological principles we have never discovered. They may understand life itself better than we do. The galaxy adapted quickly to its new reality. Trade prospered under human management. Conflicts ended when human mediators intervened. Scientific research accelerated with human collaboration. But everyone understood the new hierarchy. A year after the treaty signing, Ambassador Hio visited the council chambers again. This time she was not a hologram, but physically present. The alien stood when she entered, a sign of respect that had never been shown to humans before. "The annual report," she announced, placing a data crystal on the central podium. "Galaxy-wide prosperity is up 40%. Violent conflicts are down 90%. Medical breakthroughs have eliminated 17 major diseases. Trade efficiency has reached record levels." "Thank you," the council leader said, its crystal form glowing with what might have been gratitude. Hio smiled the same enigmatic smile that humans had worn throughout this entire process. Our pleasure. After all, this is what we always wanted, to help make the galaxy a better place. The aliens nodded and murmured agreement, but they all understood the unspoken truth. Humanity had made the galaxy better by taking control of it. They were benevolent rulers, but the word rulers was the important part. As Hio left the chambers, she passed the same corner where Ambassador Yoon had sat 18 months earlier. The seat was empty now, a reminder of what the council had lost, when they chose pride over wisdom. Outside the station, human ships patrolled routes that were safer than they had ever been. Human doctors treated patients with medicine that worked better than anything aliens had ever developed. Human engineers built structures that would last for millennia. The galaxy prospered under human guidance, and most beings were grateful for it. But late at night, in private conversations, alien leaders sometimes wondered what would have happened if they had simply said yes when humanity first asked to help. They would never know. The moment for equal partnership had passed. Now there was only the new reality. A galaxy where humans led and everyone else followed. And despite everything, it was a better galaxy than it had been before. The council had learned their lesson. Some lessons humanity had discovered were worth teaching twice, once through patience and once through power. Humanity had tried patience first. When that failed, they had chosen power. The galaxy was learning which approach humans preferred.